In the heart of Akinwali village, where red earth clung stubbornly to bare feet, and every whisper traveled faster than the wind, there lived a man everyone recognized, but no one truly saw. His name was Adekunle, but in that village, names meant nothing without status, so no one used it. They called him the Cleaner. Every morning, long before the sun found the courage to rise, Adekunle woke up, not because anyone expected him, not because he had somewhere important to be. He woke up because discipline was the last thing life had not taken from him. He would sit quietly on the edge of his thin mat, listening to the village breathe. The distant crow of a rooster, the rustle of leaves, the quiet sigh of a world that did not care whether he stood up that morning or stayed on the floor forever. He always stood. Cold water met his face, not to shock him awake, but to remind him he was still alive. He never rushed. He never hurried life. Life had already rushed past him once. Then he reached for his broom, old, worn, familiar, its handle smooth from years of use, its bristles uneven, some missing entirely. To others, it was a symbol of failure. To Adekunle, it was a promise. As he stepped into the village square, the sky slowly softened from darkness to light. That hour, when the world is neither asleep nor awake, was the only time Adekunle truly felt at peace. No voices yet, no laughter, no judgment, just him and the sound of the broom brushing against earth. By the time the village fully woke, peace was gone. Women stepped outside to light fires, their voices rising with smoke. Men gathered in small groups, discussing money, politics, and other people's failures. Motorcycles roared past, spitting dust onto the paths he had just cleaned. No one looked back. No one apologized. Children were the boldest. They laughed openly, pointed freely, mocked without fear. "Cleaner! Cleaner!" they shouted, as if the word itself was entertainment. Sometimes they threw trash behind him, just to see if he would turn around. He never did. He simply swept again. In Akinwale village, silence was mistaken for weakness. They did not understand that silence can also be restraint. One afternoon, a young man returned from the city. His clothes were loud, his motorcycle louder. He stopped in front of Adekunle, revving his engine as if announcing importance. "Old man," he said laughing, "what happened to your dreams?" The crowd laughed with him. Adekunle paused, rested both hands on his broom, and looked up. "Dreams don't always die," he said calmly. "Sometimes they choose to sleep." The laughter grew louder. The young man rode away, convinced he had won. What none of them knew was that Adekunle had once stood where decisions were made that shaped entire regions. He had once walked into rooms where men fell silent out of respect. He had once been powerful, years before the broom, before the village, before the silence. Adekunle had been a senior civil servant in the capital, honest in a system that punished honesty, calm in a world addicted to chaos. When files were altered, he restored them. When bribes were offered, he declined them. Not loudly, not proudly, simply, firmly. That was how enemies noticed him. A young politician had once come to him, full of ambition, surrounded by dangerous friends. Adekunle warned him. "Power attracts snakes," he said. "Choose carefully who stands beside you." The young man listened, but not enough. When the scandal erupted, it swallowed everyone. Someone had to be sacrificed, and Adekunle stepped forward. He took responsibility for crimes he did not commit. He did not shout. He did not beg. He believed truth did not need noise. But truth is slow. and punishment is fast. He lost his job, his reputation, his home. Friends crossed the road when they saw him coming. His wife left quietly, taking the children with her. She did not look back. Adekunle did not chase. He understood that some losses cannot be prevented, only endured. So he disappeared. When he returned to Akinwale village, the place of his childhood, no one asked questions. They only looked and judged. Chief Bamidele judged the loudest, a man with money, with influence, with a voice that filled spaces. Whenever Adekunle passed, the chief found a way to remind him who mattered. A man without success, he once declared loudly, is already dead. The crowd nodded. Adekunle swept. Then came the rain, heavy, relentless, the kind of rain that exposes what people ignore. Stalls collapsed, roads flooded, children cried, and there was Adekunle, barefoot, soaked, helping. No cameras, no praise, just service. Days later, the village heard the news. The governor is coming. Excitement exploded. People rushed to be seen, to be important. Some looked at Adekunle with irritation. Not today, they told him. Go and hide your shame. Adekunle smiled gently. I am where I belong. When the convoy arrived, sirens cut through the air. Dust rose. People cheered. The governor stepped out, and then he saw him. Time slowed. The broom, the posture, the face. Recognition struck like lightning. Ignoring protocol, ignoring everyone, the governor walked straight to Adekunle and bowed. My mentor, he said, the man who saved my life. The village froze. In that moment, every insult echoed back. Every laugh tasted bitter. The governor spoke of sacrifice, of integrity, of a man who carried shame so others could survive. Tears fell. When he offered Adekunle everything, money, honor, position, Adekunle refused. I am finished chasing, he said softly. I am at peace. After that day, the village changed, slowly, quietly. Children greeted him, elders nodded, the chief avoided his eyes. And every morning, as the sun rose over Akinwale village, Adekunle swept, not because he had to, but because dignity, once chosen, does not need witnesses. Never mock a quiet man. You do not know what he survived to remain gentle.